All right, good evening. If, as per usual, if you don't want to hear the opening, because I do take a bit of time to get into things, just skip about 6-7 minutes today to get to the meat of this. Today we are going to be talking about the great propaganda effort and the attempts now for the what I call the de-truckification. I can't even say it. De-Truckification of Ottawa, and it's a play on words based on the DQ. Oh man, I can't even talk. I'm 2 minutes into the stream. It's a play on words on the deculakization. Freaking hell. I'm going to have a tough night. It's going to be a rough night, boys. Okay, let me show you the word I'm trying to say. The deculakization. Okay, I don't have to say that again tonight, okay, hopefully. That's what we're going to be looking at tonight. But before we, I won't swear. Hello, everyone. Before I get into it, I just wanted to, okay, I'm going to address the chat, but then I'm going to address something that happened on last week's video and just to clear the air, and here we go. So hello, everybody in the chat. So Peter, Binks, Mercer, MTM, Derek, hey, Derek, Crit, you're here. Oh, Crit. I'm always so happy when you're here, Crit. Okay, Faye, hi Faye, Glenn, Gun Cotton, Peter Brand, Scott Peter, twice hello today, Top Dog, and I think yes, okay, I'm gonna put this is gonna be on the screen because your girl tonight can't speak at all, so this is what I'm trying to say. Thank you, Banks, always there for me. Okay, so before we get into this, hi RV Chris, shout out to the Big D Live crew over there. Okay, before we get into today's video, I wanted to quickly address. So last week at the end of the stream, I went on about, I'm really upset about people who are kind of going along with them, and I may have gotten too far. So I did get some criticism back, and I'm okay. I'm perfectly fine with criticism, and I'm happy to acknowledge all forms of it and to face it straight on. And I do think that perhaps I have gone too far, and the criticism that I got back made me kind of realize, yeah, maybe I am going too far. So anyways, just to catch everybody up so you're not left in the dark, what I've been accused of, and rightfully so, I believe, is that I'm becoming what I've been preaching not to become over the last few years. So basically the criticism was because I've been trying to not put everyone in a group and cast the whole group aside and like form a whole group personality and say this entire group needs to do this. And I sort of did it at the end of the video last week. So, I mean, I think I may have misspoke. Of course, I'm going to get attacked no matter what I do. So who the hell cares? But I'm going to try to justify it for anybody who's left here. It is true that I have perhaps gone a little bit towards kind of the dark side, if I think about it, because I did put all of those people who are checking the Vax pass and allowing entry into the store or not. I did kind of say, okay, well, they and that group and them and all that. And I realized that that is exactly what I've been saying not to do. And so I would like to retract that formally from the record, if I may, and perhaps put my efforts into trying to bring people to our side willingly. So just keep explaining things in a way to hopefully bring them over to us. And by our side, I mean the side that just likes freedom, and basically the side of people who want to be left alone. Like, I really do want my body, my choice. I just want to be left alone and go about my life with the freedom that I had before all of this started. So, and I think the reason, because I was thinking normally when people kind of go towards the dark side, and when I talk about the dark side, this is a lot of one of my biggest influences in life has been Solzhenitsyn. And there was, I can't remember where in the Gulag Archipelago, it's a freaking massively long 2-tome book, but in the Gulag Archipelago, at one point, he did mention that he realizes that the line between good and evil is in everybody's heart. So each person has that line, and you have to consciously make an effort to not cross over to it. And the reason he mentions that is because for years when he was thrown into the Gulag, he was mistreated by by everybody there. And eventually, as a prisoner, he ended up getting a tiny bit more power over another group of prisoners. And he says, I was there and I saw him and I just kicked his suitcase for no reason, just to do it. And then he kind of mistreated them a little bit. And he said, I realized at that point that I was becoming what I said I didn't want to become. So I think to that effect, I may have done a little bit of that last week by going a little bit too aggressively against people. And I was trying to think, why am I doing this? Normally, when you get kind of corrupted in such a fashion, it's because you either have power or money. And I'm like, I have no power and I definitely don't have money. So it's not power or money that corrupted me in a way. I think, and this is not a justification or trying to explain my way out of it. It's just so that you can maybe understand the perspective I may have been coming from. I think it was out of anger. I think for months now, for almost 2 years, I've seen my friends, my colleagues, people around me go along with this and endorse this tyrannical narrative. And it got me to a point where I'm like angry. I'm so angry, and almost you're desperate, you lose faith, and you're like, what is going to happen to our country? Because by the time these people wake up, it's going to be too late. What do we do, right? So I think perhaps. No, I'm not crying. You're crying. I'm not crying. Perhaps I won't be too emotional, guys. It's okay. Perhaps this is what led me to that. And anyways, all of this big, super boring introduction that you have been so kind to let me get out of my chest here, off my chest. But all of that to say that, yes, I do recognize perhaps I went to the dark side. And I'm going to try not to do that anymore. I'm going to try to, because I really do want to do good. I want to put forward messages that are realistic, but that don't divide people. So I will try to consciously make that decision every day that I don't cross that dark side of my heart. I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to cry. But try to instead perhaps explain to people why they shouldn't, why they might want to consider an alternative point. So, for example, that person in the store, instead of me saying, get them to quit all their jobs or get them to go out and, we should round them all up. I never said that, but it's been what I've been accused of. I would perhaps go down the route of saying, how can we reach out to them? How can we explain? How can we, So anyways, this will be what I will try to do for the rest of the stream. Okay. Woo. Okay. Second item I want to talk about really quickly, and this one won't make me cry, but I've also been accused of deleting tweets, deleting comments and not posting my videos. So let me say something about that real quick. When I do my live streams, I'm still on an active strike with YouTube right now. And whenever I finish a stream, it seems to process the video for a few hours. And I have a feeling, I can't prove it, but what I think is happening is either it just takes a long time to upload, or it's being withheld and they're running my video through an AI or something, manual review. I don't know. But it seems to take 2 or 3 hours. Sometimes I've seen it up to 6 hours before my video even gets posted on YouTube. So I'm not removing videos. I've never removed a video. I'm not hiding them or anything. And especially the comments, I do not delete comments. I've never deleted one comment. So in my YouTube comment section on here, I have a lot of moderators, and the moderators are doing a great job. So I don't delete comments. Okay. I've said that many times, but it seems to come up all the time, and I don't delete comments. Okay. I don't hide anything. Okay. Let's get into the subject tonight. So Ottawa. Ottawa's in a lot of trouble right now, and I think the cabinet is freaking out. It's almost like they're going overboard with the whole trucker thing, and they're throwing everything at it, absolutely everything, and see what is going to stick. And then so basically they're taking all the insults, all the stuff that we know of, like the white supremacy, the Russian intervention, all of that stuff, and they're throwing it at the truck convoy. And they're portraying all of them as a collective in this light of absolute, despicable people in Ottawa. And from that, so this is the official government position. And from that, all the little media outlets that are falling in line and just recycling up that message and putting it out there, expanding the voice of the government. At the same time, the government is also censoring the opposite. So they're making it very tough for this to get out. So if you are just some person just going about their day and you just happen to listen to CTV, you wouldn't know what is really going on with the truckers. You wouldn't have the real, you'd have the propagandized version of this. So we're going to check out all the stuff that they've been throwing at at the truckers. It's been really, really crazy. So it started off last week. I don't know if you guys remember this, but they actually, CBC, this is the CBC, they actually suggested that they were going to, that the Russians were involved with the truckers. I'm like, what? Anyways, let's take a quick listen. I hope this plays. Binks, if you're still there, if you wouldn't mind giving me a quick notification in the chat here, if or anybody really for that matter, but if you guys can hear this, I think you should be able to hear this, but just in case, let me know, okay?
Given Canada's support of Ukraine in this current crisis with Russia, I don't know if it's far-fetched to ask, but there is concern that Russian actors could be continuing to fuel things as this protest grows, but perhaps even instigating it from the outset.
Okay, so that was the first part. That was one of the things. But what I find really, really interesting about this video is if you look at this lady's body language. We'll play it again, but pay attention to this. Her eyes, her eyelids are fluttering a lot. She's looking down a lot. And these are all signs of being very uncomfortable in delivering the message. So I have a feeling that herself, she really doesn't want to say this. She really doesn't want to say this on camera, but she's been instructed by her overlords to do this. So check out her body language again. I'm going to replay this again.
Given Canada's support of Ukraine in this current crisis with Russia, I don't know if it's far-fetched to ask, but there is concern that...
And she even says, I don't know if it's far-fetched. By the way, can you guys hear that? If I played it twice without you hearing that, that would be so embarrassing. Hear it fine. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys are awesome. Thanks for always letting me know about these technical issues or non-issues. So anyways, she even says, I don't know if it's far-fetched. It's like, she knew this was insane, and she got paid to say it. She had to say it. So it's interesting to watch all of these arguments coming out. So this was a few days ago. This was back in Saturday, January 29th. So that was the initial thing that came out. And they tried to tie it to the Russians and Putin, of course, and with the Ukraine story. The truckers, honestly, the truckers don't give a crap. It's not about Ukraine or Russia. Anyways, okay. So the Russian actors, so that was kind of funny. So that was the first thing. Now, of course, I think this one just changed here on me. It just changed. This is Twitter, so it just changed up on me. But it was about how Trudeau was calling them, what did he say? He said, I can't remember what he said. Oh, yes, this is it here. Trudeau says he's not intimidated by protesters. Now, of course, this is the January 31st. And so I think that was this Sunday. When was it? The Sunday? Monday. So this is after the fact. So they're coming back and they're saying that, of course, Trudeau says he's not intimidated. Of course, they had to publish that because Trudeau was hiding for a few days. So they totally had to say, oh, he's not intimidated. They're totally shilling for prime minister. And that's because that's what they're paid to do. Police in Canada have opened several criminal investigations into sweeping protests following reports of demonstration urinating on the country's National War Memorial. Of course, no evidence on that at all. And in fact, I heard some people talking to the chief of the Ottawa police, and the chief of the Ottawa police had said there's been no reports of anything. So protesters initially started with plans to protest the vaccine requirements, but shifted to broader opposition to the Trudeau government as COVID-19 vaccine mandate across the country. So, and by the way, when we did the stream on Saturday, we actually saw that it was Netherlands were starting. And then I heard on Monday, Italy started protesting, and now Australia. So all of these countries have now followed Canada's lead in the trucker protest, and they're all going full tilt with that now. So that is really awesome. But let's check out what else Trudeau has said. this is today. So after he'd been hiding for a while, he did a press conference yesterday, or 2 days ago, and it was just, Faye, I promise you, I will not play that press conference because I can't even watch him anymore. I'm struggling hard. But he came out and he said like all sorts of falsehoods about the truckers. But this is just yesterday. I'm going to show you his Facebook post here. Today in the House, members of Parliament unanimously condemned the anti-Semitism. And this is where I'm saying they're throwing everything in the kitchen sink at the truckers to see what sticks. So anti-Semitism, I'm like, okay, whatever. Maybe you could tie that to the one Nazi flag that somebody was most likely paid to fly at the protest. Islamophobia, I'm like, what the hell? What? Like, what? What? Most people don't even know what Islam is, dude. Like, anti-Black racism, homophobia. What? Homophobia? And transphobia. Okay, so this is the deluded mind of Justin Trudeau, because he somehow has managed to tie the truckers who are peacefully rolling into Ottawa with all of their supporters who are just literally having like a dance party in Ottawa. And by the way, there's ample video of people picking up trash after all of that happened to leave everything clean. And you can go and check that out. It's on TikTok and Twitter if you want to go check those out. You'll find a lot of people filming that stuff. But so they were peaceful. And somehow people who are peacefully protesting and then cleaning up after themselves for the freedom of their body, for the freedom to be able to have authority on your own body, being the vaccine mandates, these people are transphobic. Like, it is absolutely mind-boggling that this is actually an argument here. It doesn't even, it defies all logic. It defies any kind of even like back-end logic you can do. Like, even liberal logic doesn't even apply to this. This is so far beyond that you wonder, is he smoking something? Is he okay? Like, did he have an aneurysm? Like, maybe he had a stroke? Like, it's like, just, he's saying the same thing, but it doesn't even apply at all. This is just the same stuff he's been spewing his whole time in power, but it's not even applicable to this situation in any way. So he says, we've seen that on display in Ottawa over the past number of days. Let's keep working to make Canada more inclusive. But again, he literally says that as he's trying to de-truckify Ottawa in a violent way. He's considering violence for this. And I'm going to show you why I say that after. So more inclusive, but of course, the inclusivity is a privilege in Canada. Inclusivity, this is what we've learned over the pandemic. Inclusivity is a privilege that you are bestowed once you agree and do not question everything that the Justin Trudeau government says. If you go along with it and you don't question it, then you are bestowed upon the inclusivity garnet, right? That's what you get. You get inclusivity, you get peace, you get whatever. But if you go against it, as we are allowed to in a free country, that inclusivity is not for you, boy. So anyways, so that's another thing they've tried. Of course, all of the official narrative has been accompanied by the echoes that have been happening all over the place. So people that have no idea, people that have not read anything about the truckers, people that barely have any idea what's going on are just echoing what the Trudeau government is putting out there. And this is an example. Anti-vaccine truckers say they won't end Ottawa protests until mandate is dropped. Again, the truckers themselves have come out saying like about 90% of us are vaccinated. So how do we justify the anti-vaccine logic here? It doesn't even, it's not applicable. Not applicable. You should be fired. So it's, of course, if I say that now, I'm going to be accused again of being, Julie, you're going on the dark side. I'm just kidding, guys. I don't actually think they should be fired. Okay. Okay. Let's keep going. The Ottawa protesters here, not going anywhere until the vaccine is dropped. But truck drivers who have protested in Ottawa, this is another example of propaganda piece, Canada for more than 5 days said on Wednesday they won't vacate Canada's capital until COVID vaccine mandate for cross-border truckers is dropped. Again, it's not just for the cross-border truckers, and then they also say here they have several active criminal investigations undergoing, from bribery to threats to assault to the dangerous operations of vehicles. So still trying to throw everything. So, what they call several active criminal investigation is somebody who said, oh, look, there's a Nazi flag. So even though that Nazi flag had nothing to do with the protest, that is what they're putting under the banner of criminal investigation. Who knows what else? It could be literally anything. So this is what is really, really getting crazy. And then Prime Minister Trudeau denounced the protesters on Monday for their behavior, which including flying racist flags. So one guy flew the Nazi flag and it became everybody in Canada that opposes the vaccine, COVID vaccine, is a Nazi because this person represents all of them. And adding, of course, this is something Trudeau's he's got this tattooed on his body, guaranteed. He says this is no place in our country for threats, violence, or hatred. So the only thing is, again, like the cloak of inclusivity that is applicable only to people who are good boys and girls, good commies, who listen to their government and do whatever the government says. There is no place in our country for threats unless you're a nurse and you refuse to get vaccinated. Then we can threaten you and eventually fire you from your job, because nurses in Canada work for the government, right? It's universal healthcare, guys. They work for the government. Same thing for trucks. The trucks, the truckers don't work for the government, but because it's a cross-border issue, this is a federal issue that we're dealing with. So they can actually threaten the trucks to say, the truckers saying, if you do not get vaccinated, you must quarantine for 14 days. That's a punishment. It's a threat. It's a threat to hold you over your head so that you can be annoyed enough that you get vaccinated just to get through that. So they're allowed to threaten. And this is not just the nurses or the truckers. The amount of people in Canada, I often wonder at night, how many people would have truly taken this jab if there was no coercion? If the government had simply said, look, beautiful citizens, this jab is now available to all of you. You want the jab, you can take the jab. You don't want it, fine, whatever. I wonder how many people, what the uptake would have been, right? I wonder that, because a lot of the people that I know that had to take it, they took it because they were going to lose their jobs. They didn't see any way out of this, so they took it. They took both jabs. So it's just, and by the way, I think now it's going to be 3. I think Ontario. We'll look at that after if we have time today. But so again, every time that Trudeau says there is no place in our country for threats, violence, or hatred, that means there's no place for you to do that, but the government can do that. The government has the monopoly on threats, violence, and hatred. They can hate the truckers by refusing to meet with them and denouncing them. They can threaten people, their livelihoods with a jab. And of course, they're allowed to conduct violence, which is something that they're about to do. I'm going to show you. And this is why I said it at the very start, but I'm going to reiterate why I picked the title tonight. I'm going to try to say it without sounding like a blubbering fool or a drunk sailor. Okay, it's the De-Truckification of Ottawa. And it's because of oh my God, Binks, I'm going to need your help again. The de-kulak is, I don't know why I have such a problem saying that. I'm going to bring it up. Hold on, guys. I'm going to bring it up on the screen just so everybody can see what I'm talking about. The deculakization, good Lord. I can spell it, no problem. Just can't say it. Okay, this is what I'm trying to say, guys, here. This deculakization. There we go. So just a quick note on the deculakization. It was in the early 20s. It started in 1917, but it was like really big in the 20s. But what they did is they took what they deemed to be a rich peasant, a rich farmer in Russia, and they put them in a group, calling them the kulaks. And there was a 5-year economic plan, and part of that plan was the dekulakization. And what they did with this is slowly they would take the land away from these rich farmers. And by rich, I mean like some dude owned a farmhouse, like 3 cows and a mouton. What's that in English? A sheep. And they were like, yeah, you're rich, man. We got to take your stuff away from you. So they went around and they took it away, and the effort was to give those lands to create collective farming. And they would put the good commies, the commies that listened to the government, on those lands and say, okay, farm away, boys. And the problem is these were people without experience. They didn't really understand farming very well. And it caused a really big famine in the 20s. So this is something that they were talking, that they were doing there. And I have a feeling that Trudeau is going the same direction with the trucks. He's trying to, what they did is they persecuted the kulaks in the Soviet Union, and they're going to prosecute the truckers in Canada. They're going to attempt to. But if we understand the game plan, if we understand where this could go, I think we have a better chance of stopping it and standing our ground. Because if we understand where this is going to go, we're going to know we don't want it to go there, and we're going to stop the government. We're going to stop Trudeau right dead in his tracks. And it's not just Trudeau. I'm using Trudeau as like the face of this, but it's all the Liberals, all the Conservatives, basically people in government who are not opposing any of this. They're all doing the same tactics. They're all going along with this. So they're doing they did the DQ. I'm fired from my own job here, guys. I cannot say this freaking word. The dekulakization is essentially a lesson for us as we go through the De-Truckification of Ottawa. So there have been, I'm going to show you. Let me see if I covered this one. Oh, yes. One last thing to cover in the pandemic propaganda. The Canadian police have set up hate crime hotline over pandemic protest violence. So they're just trying everything at this point. They're like, okay, let me understand this. Why do you need a hotline if you have several active criminal investigations undergoing from bribery to blah, blah? You have that. You have Trudeau saying there were several hate crimes. So why do you need a hate crime hotline? Like, aren't you concerned about overwhelming the police force at this point? Like, why are you looking for hate crimes if you already have so many to deal with? Like, I'm a project manager, and I get like a certain amount of projects thrown at me at once. And if, like, I won't go to my boss and say, oh, I need more projects when I'm already at capacity and I cannot do any of my projects successfully if I start getting more. So I don't understand. Like, I would never go to my boss and say, I need more projects unless I didn't have enough projects to work on. And this is what I feel they're doing. The Canadian police supposedly, allegedly setting up a hate crime hotline. Why are you setting up a hate crime hotline if you already have so many hate crimes to process? Like, you have infinite police officers in Ottawa that we don't know about? So anyways, I found that one was quite interesting, by the way, because you can see that when you start to look at the entire picture of the narrative, all with one like bird's eye view, you can see how they literally conflict with each other all the time, right? So, okay, now we're getting into the De-Truckification of Ottawa, which is basically their next move. This is what they're trying to do, what they're trying to figure out. Here. Yeah, this is true, Faye. This is a really good point Faye's bringing up. Yeah, it's not the opposition to the jab, and I think you're saying that back when I was talking about that they're opposing that. Yeah, that they're 90% vaxxed. Yeah, it's that they're being forced to do it to keep their job, and that's a really good point, Faye. Okay, so all options are on the table to end the truckers' protests says Ottawa Police Chief. All and see, this is a little bit concerning to me. All options are on the table. This is the same kind of language we heard when they were talking about the unjabbed. When right before they, I don't know if you guys will remember this, right before they went in and did the Vax Pass, they used to talk about this, the Vax Pass and ways to get people jabbed. They used to talk about it this way. All options are on the table. So this is what they use when they already have a very sinister plan already in motion. It's already established and they're just waiting to push the green button on it. But they talk about it like this in front of the public. So as to mean, okay, well, you know, we have this option, which is less lethal, but we don't have the really lethal option here, which is basically put them all in concentration camps, right? For traffic violation, whatever they're going to do. I don't know. But knowing the governments of the 20th century, I don't have much faith that the options are good in this one. So this is one where they're saying all options on the table. And what they're trying to do is to bring the protest to an end. So that's the goal. So they have a significant decrease in the number of truckers and protesters downtown. So that's what they're saying. Of course, when was this published? Let me just see. This was on Monday. So of course, on Monday, there's less people. A lot of people went on the weekend, and I have a feeling a lot of people are going to go back next weekend. But of course, they have to make sure that they say there's a decrease in number to make it minimize the true impact of the truckers, right? If you can't, if you just read this, you think, oh, okay, it's not so bad anymore. You know, maybe they're leaving. But the ever-changing and increasingly more difficult to manage. So the ones that are there, increasingly more difficult to manage. I don't know what that means. It's just maybe Trudeau's getting more irritated. I have a feeling that's maybe what he means. The Freedom Convoy against the COVID-19 vaccination mandates and other public health measures have caused gridlock downtown and major headaches for area residents and business owners. If I was a business owner, I would just kind of use that to my advantage, you know, by perhaps giving a discount to the truckers. Like, I don't know, like I would try to use it to, like, honestly, and it can be anything, literally any business you have. Like, you have a yoga studio, say we're going to do yoga for freedom, and you get all the truckers. That would be such an awesome an awesome event to see a whole bunch of truckers just doing yoga on Parliament Hill. Like, literally anything. Like, you have an ice cream store. I mean, it's January, so bad example, Julie. But, you know, you could be like, okay, this is the trucker ice cream, the Freedom Trucker ice cream, and you make it like all sorts of cool stuff in it. Like, I don't know. If I was a business in downtown Ottawa and like literally the world is watching Ottawa, I would take advantage of this. I would 100% take advantage of. I would make a burger, the Freedom Trucker Burger. If you, like, I don't understand how this is so hard to. Why are you having such a huge problem with this, businesses? You've got free people, like massive amounts of people at your doorstep. I don't even know how you can do better than this. Anyways, okay, whatever. People are so non-creative. Okay, and I'm sure a lot of business owners are actually doing things like this, but just, you know. I know this is propaganda, so they're trying to make it look like it's an inconvenience, but I'm a believer you can always turn a bad situation into something positive if you can try to figure out some creative thinking around it. Anyways, the residents, maybe it's a headache for you too. I get it, but whatever. Okay. I just want to point out that for the last 2 years, the people who have been unable to go to work because they've shut down due to lockdowns, and the people who have lost their jobs, also a major headache, right? Just by the way. And that headache was caused by the government, and it cost trillions of dollars and people's time and freedom and sense of normalcy and peace. It's that effect of the government lockdowns is far, far worse than anything these truckers are doing. Okay, it could have led to significant severe injuries. Yeah, it could have. Yeah, it could have been much worse. But none of that has occurred. So that's good. There's finally a bit of honesty in here. So here, see how they're saying no riots, no injuries, right? So again, like I was saying, if you look at all the narrative together, they're contradicting each other all the time. It's absolutely insane. So Police are continuing to negotiate with organizers in an effort to end the demonstration. All options are on the table, from negotiation through enforcement. And the enforcement, that's the one where I'm a little concerned, but whatever. Okay. But it's really funny. So 12 criminal investigations into various allegations. So whatever, that's the same thing we just read. And now they're saying, okay, you've done what you needed to do, now get the hell out. So as if this was just like a puppet show that you put on one time and then you leave. Like, no, like, I don't think they understand the true nature of Canadian freedom spirit. That is what is going on in Ottawa. Okay. So let's go to this one now, because this one actually, oh, is this the one? Okay, hold on. I was looking for, before we get to this last one, I'm going to look it up for you guys. I want to look at the tow trucks. The tow trucks, Ottawa. Okay, I had one lined up at this article, but I don't know where it is. I think it's this one. There was one article that I had. Let me see if it's this one, where they announced we're going to get tow trucks to come and move some of the trucks. And I don't know if it was this article. Let me see here. But this was on TikTok and Twitter and Telegram. But the police force started calling the tow truck companies, and the tow truck companies said, sorry, we can't send anybody out. Everybody's got COVID. So that was really awesome. And that was the show of force where the tow truck companies are siding with the truckers and they're their allies, similar to what we saw with the tractors that were the farmers who are on the side of the truckers. So it's been really awesome to see all these people pull together. And then it leads the police force to go, oh crap, what are we going to do now? And now this is why they're looking. So I'm going to show you, this is the more, this is here. This is where they're getting into the more serious considerations of military, right? So Ottawa Police, and this, let me just show you when this was. I think it doesn't say here, The Guardian. I can't find where the date is, but it's very recent. So this came, oh yes, here, Wednesday, February 2nd. So this came after they got the tow truck company, the fiasco. And there was one, my husband was telling me about this one that he heard. I think he doesn't remember where he saw it, but it was a radio call-in show. And apparently somebody called the tow truck company to come and get these truckers out. And they said, oh yeah, we'll be there in 2 weeks just to flatten the curve. And I thought that was a brilliant response, and trolled them right back, So, okay, police in Ottawa have warned that they may have to call in the military to disband unlawful protests in the nation's capital and also near the U.S. border. So amid the mounting tensions between protests opposing COVID restrictions and local residents. So wouldn't it be just beautiful if literally the residents all came out saying we're going to side with the truckers? If I was a resident, perhaps if you're bothered, like, I get it that they've blocked some of the roads and it's making things a little bit more painful, but most of us have to work from home. And you guys in Ottawa, a lot of you people are federal employees, and I'm guessing you probably can work from home. So, I mean, if I was a resident, I would probably negotiate with the truckers in the sense of say, like, we totally support you, but could you please maybe not honk your horn after 10 p.m.? I have a newborn. I'm trying to get to sleep, that kind of stuff, right? Like, but negotiate with them. Like, it would be beautiful if all the residents could come out and say, no, we want the truckers to stay. That would be just beautiful. And then you have the local businesses doing yoga in Parliament Hill with the truckers. It would be amazing. But here, the Ottawa Chief Police, again, this guy, Peter, he warned that the officers did not have the resources to remove a fleet of trucks. Duh, it's a lot of trucks. But you know what's funny? Didn't Trudeau say a few days ago, oh, this is a minority fringe minority, only a few truckers. So I'm like, oh, it shouldn't be a big deal to deal with it, right? But apparently not. It's not so small, isn't it? Okay, so the city was considering requesting help from the Canadian Armed Forces. So once they bring in the armed forces, this is where it gets to be a little bit, you have just a trucker. This guy is just driving truck and against a Canadian trained soldier. So, Warren, bringing in the military carried a massive risk. Yeah, no shit. The military is trained, they're trained to kill, boys. That's what they're trained to do. The military is trained to kill. Adding that protesters are believed to have weapons. So here, adding that protesters are believed to have weapons. So wait a sec. Are you telling me that the trucker and the guy who came in from Sarnia as a supporter of the trucker, they have weapons? What kind of weapons? Like, I think what they say weapons, they literally mean like the tools the trucker will have in his cab. Like that's what like the tire iron, is that what they consider a weapon? They can't mean handguns. They can't mean firearms. What weapons do they have? I don't understand what weapons would the protesters have that the military would be intimidated by. Like, are you kidding me? Like, is this like gaslighting? Like, this is gaslighting 101. This is like the best example of gaslighting. You're telling me the military is going to be intimidated, and it carries a massive risk. They put that in quote right here, massive risk, because protesters are believed to have weapons. Like, I was asking my husband before the stream just to be absolutely sure, but if they're considering the firearms, like any legally obtained firearm in Canada has transportation rules. And if you have a shotgun, for example, the shotgun, you can only be transporting it to go hunting. And if you have any of the other firearms, like a handgun or like I don't, like AK-47, whatever people would have here. Like, you can't even have an AK-47, I bet here. I'm not very good with weapons unless they're the weapons in Call of Duty. I don't know the actual weapons here, but like a rifle, that's what I was trying to say, a rifle to go shoot deer. You have to have your firearm, and then in a separate place in your car you have your magazines and your ammo, but they can't be with the firearm. So I'm thinking, even if they had a firearm, which is very unlikely that a trucker would have a firearm in his cab at a protest in Ottawa, but even if they did, I mean, it's not like they're very well equipped to go against the military. So I don't know what they're thinking that the massive risk is. The massive risk is you're sending the military against your own citizens. Does anybody realize that? That's when they say these articles here, Ottawa police considering military, they're using the military against their people. This is what China does. This is what North Korea does. This is what any state that is in a totalitarian regime will do. And now, think about that, guys. In Canada, we are considering the military against citizens for what they've admitted are mostly peaceful protests for the most part, except for all of that BS crap that they've been saying. No arrests have been made. There's been nothing happening that is of any mention, except for some shady, made-up criminal investigations. And now they're coming out saying the military as a response to that. The military. This is why, like, I really think, and the more I think about that stupid yoga idea I had, like, whatever it is, like yoga, Tai Chi, anything like that. Like, honestly, I would, if this was me, if I was an organizer of this protest, I would be like, guys, let's do for the world stage the most peaceful protests we could possibly do. Massive groups of Tai Chi. Like, imagine if all the truckers, not all of them, but imagine you had, like 50 truckers right at Parliament Hill, all doing Tai Chi for half an hour. That would be all over TikTok. And can you imagine using the military against truckers who are doing Tai Chi? Can you imagine out of Canada, of all places in the world, Canada, the bastion of freedom, the place where people who are fleeing their totalitarian regimes, they come here to Canada. They come here to us for freedom and protection and safety. Can you imagine? This is why I'm like, you know what, guys? It's time to do all these really insanely, like, blatantly peaceful things all out in the open, in front of everybody. Don't just honk the horns. I get that you're a trucker, but like, let's start to expand our thoughts on this and come up with ideas that are cool that people can go and post all over social media it'll get picked up by the people in the States. Our brothers and sisters in the States, the ones that are on our side for freedom, they are just waiting for this kind of stuff to hit so they can publish it as well there. They don't have as much censorship down there. So anyways, guarantee you that if we start doing that stuff, it'll be amazing. So trucker Tai Chi in the park, yoga, and the trucker freedom burger. Those are that's what we should be doing right now. Okay, so anyways, they're still going off about the GoFundMe campaign for the truckers. They're like really butthurt about that because, you know, the liberals and all that, they can't raise that kind of money in this amount of time. So like it's an embarrassment to all the political parties out there because none of them can do this amount of money. So they have to constantly bring up the stupid GoFundMe thing. And I bet you that the GoFundMe one is also under investigation for criminal whatever. They're going to stick whatever to that one too. So anyways. And then, of course, they say here an avenue for far-right groups. Far-right groups, the people who want freedom, they want to have autonomy over their body, and they just want to be left alone. You are far-right, sir. To the gulag. So, okay. Officials expect more protesters to arrive over the weekend. And yes, by the way, I hear that there is a huge dance party from noon to 3 o'clock on Parliament Hill on Saturday. So that is Saturday. Let me look up the calendar here. Give you guys the right date. Saturday, February 5th. And let me see. I don't even know if I have that, if I've saved that. But yeah, there is a mega party, so a dance party. So again, I saw that there was like another dance party at Parliament Hill, and it looked really cool. There were fireworks. All these are super great ideas. And there's another one on February 5th. So if you are going to Ottawa, make sure to attend the dance party. And so then they're saying about the situation being volatile, of course. And they're saying here that they're using these people just because they're high profile. But the crowdfunding organizer, and Patrick King, this is a dude, he's like an activist. And they're saying that the coronavirus is being used to depopulate the white race. It's used to depopulate all races, guys. Sorry to say this. Oh my gosh. Like, why would you? Why do you think it's the white race only? Oh my gosh. It's so ridiculous. Like, why are they keep bringing this back to the white race? It's ridiculous. Okay, officials expect more protesters. And of course, the situation is going to get more volatile. And they're talking about the residents being frustrated. But yeah, the truckers are standing their ground. I sincerely hope that they absolutely stand their ground on this one and that they keep going and don't give in. Don't give in, guys. I don't know what else to say. We've got the momentum, we've got the world's attention. And in fact, a lot of the other countries in the world who are dealing with these similar situations are starting to follow in the Canadian trucker footsteps by going out there and protesting with their trucks as well. So hopefully this is going to stay. I really do hope that they stay until the mandates are gone. A couple more minutes before I end the stream, guys, but I just wanted to share one more thing with you guys. I won't even bring it up. I don't need to bring it up on the screen here, but they are moving some restrictions, removing them. But I want you to pay close attention to what restrictions they're removing. So this is where we're getting into some concerning territory that we have to keep on top of, because they are removing things like capacity in restaurants and, the restaurant can now serve alcohol after 10 p.m. Like all these weird things that they had put restrictions on before, they're lifting them now. But I want you to notice that so far in Canada, they have not lifted the vaccine mandate restriction. And in fact, Ontario and Ottawa, Ontario and Quebec, both crazy provinces, are going full crazy even more, because I think it was just announced in Ontario that in order to be considered fully vaccinated, you now will have to get the booster shot. So this is considered technically the third shot. So they're not backing down on the vaccine passport. And that is the one we need to kill. The vaccine passport is what we need to kill, because this is the precursor to far worse measures in terms of the control over your life. So really, we cannot take our eye off of that one. they can remove everything else. They can add more restrictions, add the curfew, whatever. Those are all like periphery items that are freedom problems. They're problems, believe me. I'm not saying they're not a problem, but we cannot just sit back and be like, oh, okay, well, now I can at least go to my restaurant and eat there, if I'm double vaxxed or triple vaxxed now, and think that that's your freedom back. It has to be the passport that we go after, and that will be the determining factor as if we are successful in freedom in the future, or if we go towards a tyranny in Canada. Everything is on that passport. The passport is the deciding factor. So never lose sight of that. The passport is just the groundwork for future climate change additions and other things they want to force you to take. The passport is just the entry. It's the gateway. It's like the gateway drug into the big world of drugs, you know. This vaccine passport is the gateway passport into far deeper, troubling passports that they want to add all sorts of your private life onto in order to control you, your movement, your body, your thoughts. That one is coming to. Be very, very careful with that. But the passport is the one we have to make sure that we kill. So anyways, okay, that is pretty much it for me, guys. I'm so sorry that I have not paid great attention to the chat tonight. But I see a lot of people. Oh my gosh, so many people in here that I haven't said hello to. But oh, Ria, I always forget to say hi to you, Ria. Hello, Ria. But so many people. I'm so sorry if I haven't personally addressed you tonight, but I wanted to thank everybody for being here tonight. And again, if there's anything you want me to talk about, my email, everything is in the description of this video, which will be posted in a few hours because I'm sure they're going to put this through an AI, make sure my content is approved. But again, I'm also on BitChute. I'm also on Rumble, and I post shorter videos on there when I have time to make and edit them. So anyways, thank you all for being here tonight. Stay brave out there. And I'll see you next week. Maybe I'll do a Sunday stream again in honor of the second weekend of protests. But we will see if I have the ability to do that. I'm more than happy to. So anyways, thank you again and have a great week. And I will see you all soon. Bye, guys.